You have to understand that sometimes a child understands things better than an adult because the mind of which a child operates on is much more simplistic. Hey, what's up, guys? We're a little bit deeper in the woods now, and I wanted to shoot another video for you because I was just had this thought while I was walking and stuff about how on this channel I talk a lot about how with the mind you need to fill it with all that good stuff, all the little morsels, little nuggets of knowledge that you're going to pick up, and basically become a more mature or a better version of yourself, right? When you feed yourself with the good stuff, then you're going to run better, right? Whether it's your mind or your body. So we're a little bit deeper in the woods now. Out here is really secluded, and the stream is probably a few miles that way, if I'm not lost, because it might be that way. I don't know, but I'll figure it out. Anyways, now if you're going to be really careful about making sure that you feed yourself with all the good stuff mentally, then you have to be equally as careful about what you're feeding yourself with that's bad. Now, you have to stand guard at the gates of your mind day and night and decide what's being let in. Now, if you had a cup of water and your greatest enemy comes over and puts some sugar in your water, what are you going to have? Well, you're probably just going to experience a sweeter version of the water, right? Not going to really have any bad stuff take place. Well, what if you have that same water and your best friend, you've known this person for 20 years, comes up and puts a cyanide tablet into that water? You're going to die, right? You have to guard your mind against both your enemies and your friends, your loved ones, and yourself. You have to realize that poison comes from everyone, just like goodness does. You can actually learn, as horrible as this is, you can learn about public speaking from Hitler. Hitler was one of the best public speakers there ever was. One of the reasons why he rose so high was his ability to motivate people and ability to get people to flick the switches psychologically for them to just go, hey, you know what? I'm going to agree with this guy. This guy knows what he's talking about. Horrible person. Absolutely atrocious what he did with his life, but you can still learn from him. And I'm sure you can find somebody who has meant you well in life and given you the absolute worst advice and you wish you hadn't followed it. I mean, I'll give you an example. My own mother, who I love very much, love dearly, my mother is very different than I am, and when I built my business, I started it on a pool table, and then that developed into, when I had my condo, into the garage. I built it out of the garage, and then, well, actually, it actually started on a folding table to a pool table to the garage. Then I rented a room from an already established business, and then I ended up buying the whole business, and then I had the whole business. I tell you that up until about a week before, and I would hear this all the time, up until about a week before taking over the business and owning it myself, moving into that building, my own mother would tell me, I need to get a real job. When are you going to get a real job? She didn't consider it a real job because her idea of a real job is exchanging your time for money and working 9 to 5 and, having, 401ks and dental plans and all that kind of stuff. That's a real job, right? Meanwhile, I was doing the work of far beyond what most people do with their real job, which, what do most people do? They do just enough not to get fired, and they care just enough so they don't actually quit. That's what people do. They don't give a shit about the job, so they do the bare minimum, right? So, meanwhile, I was the marketer, I was the designer, I did the repairs, I did the customer relations, I did the template design, I did the eBay store, I did inventory and research on how to repair new stuff that came in that I didn't know how to do. I did employee management, I did da-da-da-da-da-da. But that's not a real job. Anyways, the point is, if I had listened to my mother, who for all intents and purposes at that time, was putting cyanide in my water, well, then I would never have had the experiences that I had. I would not know how to manage things. I wouldn't have had the great amount of personal growth that I've had to be even able to talk to you guys in these videos or talk to you about success management in your personal life. I don't know where I would be now if I had listened to her. One of the greatest motivational speakers of all time, and as far as I'm concerned, one of the greatest men who's ever lived, Tony Robbins. If you look him up, you'll be floored by this guy. Tony Robbins, his mother wanted him to be a truck driver because a truck driver, I think, made, I think it was $25,000 a year, if I remember the story correctly. If Tony Robbins became a truck driver, how much would this world have missed out on the gifts and the dreams and aspirations that he had within him to bring out to the world? I mean, I'm pretty sure he's like the most successful motivational speaker that currently exists today. What would happen if he had listened to his mother? He wouldn't have existed. He wouldn't have touched millions, I'm talking millions of people's lives who are now going to go out and hopefully touch other people's lives and for the better. So to wrap this video up, also in terms of being careful with what you take into your mind, you also have to be careful about who you shut out. You can learn from a 5-year-old. You really can. You can learn from somebody who is homeless. You can learn from somebody who is a multi-billionaire. You can learn from anybody. And one of people's favorite things to do is they like to look at somebody who, in their perception, is at some point of their lives, which is not where they personally would want to be, and say, "Oh, this person has nothing for me. I can't, learn anything from them. They're a loser, or they're whatever it is." You have to understand that sometimes a child understands things better than an adult because the mind of which a child operates on is much more simplistic, and the mind of an adult is much more I can't even think of the word. I should just say simple. Much more convoluted and grown, So different perspectives on life, guys. You can learn from anybody. So don't discount or discredit anybody just because on their outer exterior, whatever you're judging them for, you think that you can't take in, any knowledge from that vessel. So you have to remember in life that within your mind, within yourself, you have a blueprint. You have desires for your life. You have passions for your life. When you have a dream or something that you want to achieve so strongly, so wholeheartedly, you're going to have tons of people. Some friends of yours are going to tell you, you don't have the means to get here. You don't have the know-how. I mean, there's no shortage of friends in your life who, let's say that you want to be a professional basketball player. There's no shortage of friends in your life who are going to say, "Yeah, man, go for it." And then there's going to be no shortage of the ones who are going to say, "Dude, how are you going to get involved in that? Who do you know who can get you in the door? Who does this? Who's that?" No, you don't have the same opportunities as somebody else. And they don't have the same opportunities as you. But we forget that we create our own opportunities. And that you can create something from nothing. So when you have this dream, don't let anybody take that away from you. That's part of guarding the mind. Because you have this treasure inside your castle, your vessel, your temple. And you have to guard those gates day and night against both enemies and friends. Because if you got it, and your dream's there, and your treasure is it's within you, you have to make sure that you cultivate it properly and you don't let anybody kill that dream. Because there is a time limit on certain dreams, and you need to make sure that you make it come to reality. Anyways, appreciate you watching this. If you liked the video, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.